No AI was used in the making of this artwork. Oh, Robert, I didn't see you there. Welcome back to another episode of Watercolor Fire Damage, the show where I paint a watercolor and then I send it to heaven. I'm Dan Marek, your friendly neighborhood arsonist. Oh, artist. Did I say arsonist? So we're continuing the Heavenly Bodies collection today, and we are at this series' Barbenheimer. We're gonna be working on Venus, the planet of love and femininity that also happens to be like a nuclear blast going off on the surface of the planet. We're gonna be painting the background pink because that's the color that's closely associated with Venus and women and Barbies, but not Oppenheimer. Well, possibly if all of your flesh melted off of your body, right? We've got a clouded planet that has soft edges, but a lot of swirly hard edge shapes, so we're gonna be figuring that out. I can't wait to get started on this one. I'm very excited about painting Venus. All right, so this is the first wash. As you can see here, I'm getting all my paints ready. I'm using my magic spray bottle to reconstitute the dried out paints. I found that M-Gram paints are really good at doing this because they're made with honey. So I'm getting a wet on wet wash going and I'm getting the background wet, but I don't want to get the planet wet. And you can see here, like, I thought I was using my clean, pure, holy water, but it turns out something tainted the well. And the color is kind of a dingy gray, but that's still okay. It's gonna be fine for what we're doing. But if you wanted that to be pure white, it's all over now. I'm using quinacridone magenta and ultramarine pink. I really like how the play between, you've got this color that's more like mauve, the ultramarine pink, and having that there actually makes the magenta seem even brighter and stand out even more. So sometimes it's like actually important to have gray tones on your piece so that you can have a point where all your saturation goes and you get that real wow moment. It really makes the actual bright colors seen even more. Okay, so you can see me going in now with a paper towel. Got my paper towel, because I got the background way too wet. There's so much water. There's like a lake of water near the planet. And you can see all the pigment is just going in that direction. It's just, it's going. It's a landslide of pigment right there. So I'm going in with the paper towel and I'm trying to soak that up, trying to go get some of the other areas where there's just a lot of water and just make it calm down a little bit. That is one of the things that, you know, like, becoming a better artist, it's important to be able to control your medium and to be able to not make mistakes. But one of the things that's kind of cool is I feel like my artwork would be very boring if I painted what I actually set out to paint all the time. It would be this perfect set of circles and it would just look like something that was made in MS Paint on the computer, I guess. That's kind of how I feel about it. It's kind of nice to be able to go in and just actually purposefully create these scenarios with the watercolor where it kind of goes crazy. And then you're kind of like controlling it and figuring it out. So unlike some of the other backgrounds, one of the things I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be plopping this color down and then I'm gonna be trying to direct it more with the brush. So I'm gonna be trying to put in streaks and this directional kind of feel to the piece in the background. So it's not gonna turn out quite like how some of the other planets' backgrounds have turned out. So I'm just getting to work here on this background and I'm just going in with the colors and just, I've got that kind of idea of the spirally, concentric circle shape. And I'm not worried too much about it being perfect. I'm just trying to get them in there and just kind of have them react and move on the fly, while at the same time leaving room for areas of white, because I'm gonna need those areas. I just know from just the backgrounds that I've been doing, it's a good idea to leave a good amount of the white of the paper when doing watercolor. We're using pink, we're using black. It's almost like I'm back in Hot Topic and it's 2007. All right, so this is the second wash and I almost never do this, but I need to have a clean area on my palette because I'm gonna be using these yellows and I don't really want them to touch anything else. But when I'm first starting out, that first wash, I want it to just be Naples yellow. Now I'm going in with my sacred ketchup bottle and I'm just applying some clean water directly to where I'm gonna be doing a wet on wet wash on Venus the planet, but I hadn't cleaned out my brush, right? Like I was cleaning it with the dirty holy water. So I go in with the brush and it immediately just puts color into the clean ketchup bottle water, right? But I was like thinking about it and I was like, well, it's just a tinge of purple, and purple is a natural complement to yellow. So it might be interesting to take the yellow and put it in with the purple and get a little bit of that saturation, bringing down some like little saucy little gray tones going on in that planet there. And I was like, yeah, why not? Let's do it. Now I'm taking a little bit of Indian yellow and I'm mixing it into the Naples yellow here. And the reason that you kind of want to do that is when you're painting, you're trying to create form or any sort of combination of values with yellow. The darkest you're gonna be able to get with yellow is like 10%, maybe 20% gray. So you gotta start mixing in oranges and reds and things like that to push the value further down. Or you could get neutral tint, and you could mix neutral tint in with Naples yellow to get a darker yellow. But in my experience, doing that makes the yellow almost have like a green character to it. In that case, I would much rather use reds and oranges to push the value of yellow further down, and you'll see how it looks. It kind of works. So now I'm grabbing some Scarlet Feral and I'm putting it on my palette, and that's gonna help me push that color even further down. It's more of a red color, like a reddish orange color. And you can see me picking up a mystery color on the palette there. I actually think that that was Cobalt Teal, that I just grabbed just a little bit of that, and I'm gonna be bringing it into the orange to kind of, you know, orange and blue, those complements. It's gonna be toning down that color just a little bit, just a little bit. And now I'm picking up some yellow and I'm gonna put it on the planet, and then I'm taking my brush and I'm cleaning it out and I'm getting it wet with water and I'm drying it so that it's just damp. And I'm taking that damp edge of the brush and I'm running it along where the yellow color is to pull that yellow from like full pigment and saturation from where it's at and pull it into that direction with the water so that it dilutes down. Okay. So for this wash, I just got a whole dish that is the quinacridone magenta and the ultramarine pink. And I'm mixing this together. I'm mixing a lot of it up because I'm gonna be going back into the background again, adding some more rich tones there, and I'm getting a lot of this pigment into the water, and I'm just gonna be going to town. So I'm going back into the background with some water here because I'm gonna be doing wet on wet washes, but I'm trying to be careful about where I'm putting the water because when I did the first wash, I used a mix of staining and non-staining pigments. The staining pigments, you put them down and for the most part they stay and they don't lift out when they get wet again. But the non-staining pigments, the sediment pigments, those you can actually come back in with water and you can lift a ton of the color out, which is great if you want to do that, but in this situation I don't really want to. So I'm trying to avoid the ultramarine pink and I'm trying to make sure that it kind of stays where it's at. Pinks are kind of a weird, it's kind of a weird color to do in watercolor without like a pre-mixed pink because, you know, like in any other medium, you would be grabbing white and red and mixing them together to get a pink. But like with watercolor, if you wanted to do it with reds, it has to be a really diluted red, which then means the consistency of it is really thin. And it's just one of those things that you would have to layer it up with like a staining pigment over and over and over again. And so it's just kind of, I was very happy with these pinks and how they turned out. There's a lot of hard edges in this background and I really like how they feel and how they look. It's kind of like how I hoped or imagined these circles and the spiral kind of design would feel. But I want to come in with a smaller brush and I want to be able to make some of these edges soft edges. The way I think about it is like when you've got these hard edges and you've got these real strong lines, it's leading the person who's looking at it, it's leading the viewer's eye through the piece, and you want to be able to create these pathways that the person's eye can kind of naturally move through. So if you think of these big hard edges as like a river, that's softening up some of the edges allows for like tributaries to branch off from the river and to be able to connect to different streams and different creeks. All of that will help the eye move through the piece. And I'm taking the Payne's Gray and I'm mixing in that magenta, and then I'm gonna take that and put that where I've got Payne's Gray and I've got magenta, and then I'm doing Payne's Gray mixed with magenta, and I'm gonna add it here and kind of fade it out in that direction, which will just kind of make that gradient going from this dark to this really bright, intense, saturated color. I'm just trying to smooth that out a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going back in with some Payne's Gray, and I'm making it dark in these areas, and I'm trying to really push that darkness and contrast and make it feel like space. This one, out of the other planet backgrounds that we've done so far, it feels not like space at this point. So that's what we're doing. We're going in with the Payne's Gray to make it feel better. All right, I really like how the background is turning out. We've got these cool little ribbons of white that are kind of swirling around the planet. It doesn't really feel real, you know, it definitely is not like what space looks like, but it has this cool feel to it, and I really like the direction that it's going, so. Okay, so I'm getting the planet wet again because we're gonna be going in and adding some more cloud shapes. So I'm going in here with some cadmium yellow deep, and I've got a little bit of the Indian yellow, and I'm mixing those two colors together to kind of make a sophisticated yellow here. In the photos that I was looking at of Venus, there was this interesting kind of play between soft shapes and hard shapes. There was actually a surprising amount of hard shapes that I saw in Venus's cloud structure. So we're gonna be trying to go in and add a lot of detail here to kind of replicate that look of the clouds on the planet. So I was looking at photo reference, working on this piece by Venus, but I kind of feel like I should have put the reference away because I got caught up in the details like all the master watercolor artists say is gonna happen. And so I kind of feel like I overly did it. I think it should have been a little bit softer and a little bit more wet technique that I did. But I did just I was looking at this reference and I was caught up in it, right? And so that's what led to me doing, you know, a lot of the detailed cloud work, which then is like mostly hard edges, and it kind of looks like something else. It looks like not clouds. Let's put it that way. So I'm trying to add more drama to the planet Venus, and the way I'm doing that is by bringing in and introducing some oranges and some reds to really push the value down, which is going to make the lighter values of the yellow shine and stand out even more. So one of the techniques I tried out here, and I think it was pretty cool, was coming in with just a ribbon of water that was pure. And then as soon as I add that area in, then what I'm doing is I'm taking my brush and I'm dropping drops of pigment into this little ribbon of water. So what this is gonna do is it's gonna create a wet on wet, like smooth transition within this line-like shape, right? So I've got this real thin shape that's gonna feel like a ribbon or kind of like a line, but I'm able to come in here with pigment and create this softness within that band of color. And then I feel like it was good here. A lot of times with watercolor, it's like you should take it 80% of the way that you think that you should take it. And then you're always like, well, I could do better. And then you try it and you add too much detail, or you kill it, or you overwork it, or you make it splotchy, or you make the colors run, or they turn muddy, or something happens. And I kind of feel like this is the moment in the painting where I kind of feel like that happened for me. You may really like it. You should tell me. You should comment down below if you like it, and then like and subscribe on top of that. A lot of this detail is in the reference photo though. It's very, like the clouds on Venus are crazy. And like the atmosphere is like 93 times denser than it is on our planet. So things just like the Russians sent a bunch of probes in like the 1960s to the 1980s to Venus, and like a ton of them got destroyed for like various reasons and things like that. But when they actually got some of the probes to land on the planet's atmosphere is like being in the ocean half a mile down. So it's just like some of the probes, they just broke. They broke like an hour after landing on the planet of Venus because the environment is so harsh. There's like sulfuric acid in the sky, and it rains sulfuric acid. So you've got like acid rain. It's super hot. It's like 860 degrees Fahrenheit. I think it's 460 degrees Celsius. So it's just like this big pressure cooker. Like the whole surface of the planet is this pressure cooker. There's volcanoes everywhere. There's no magnetic field because the planet doesn't spin. And some scientists think actually that the reason that our planet has a magnetic field is because it got hit by something. And Venus appears to have not been hit by anything. So it doesn't have a magnetic field, which means all of the radiation from the sun just strips all of these minerals and things out of its atmosphere. It's just crazy. It's the hottest planet in the solar system, even though Mercury is so much closer to the sun than Venus is. And it's because of all these clouds that are just holding everything in and making everything super hot. And because of that, the temperature of the atmosphere is pretty much the same everywhere. All right, so I'm coming in with gouache, which is the way I'm gonna add stars here. And I've tried out a bunch of different gouaches. This is Holbein G630 Artist's Permanent White. And I feel like this is the best one, but even you'll see later, there's a couple spots where I was trying to get the water consistency correct. Because you really want to use it thick. You want to use it like out of the tube. But if your brush gets dry, and then it has trouble spreading on the paper. So there's kind of this play of like, do I add 1 drop of water to my brush while I'm working with this gouache? So there was a little bit of me playing around with the Holbein white gouache. And there's a couple spots where I had to do 2 coats because I got it a little bit too thin. But for the most part, this is the gouache that I was super happy with working on all these pieces. I tried out a bunch of different gouaches. Some of them, you put them down and it just is like 50%. It dries like 50% like transparent. So you gotta come in and you gotta do it again. But I'm really happy with the artist gouache that Holbein has. Holbein? I don't know how to say it. And then what I'm doing is I'm trying to come in with these stars and I'm trying to create these shapes. We got this whole cone-centric idea, right? We got all of this going on. So I kind of want the stars to do that too, and the stars to kind of feed into it and do these cool like shapey shape things going around like this. So I'm kind of thinking about the stars in terms of like, I don't want just an even number of stars everywhere on the piece. I want it to kind of be coming in these ribbon shapes. So I'm plotting down where I'm gonna go with it. And then I'm coming in and I'm like really densely putting the stars down so that I can like get like this like thin shape from all the connections that you kind of put together with the dots of the white. All right, so that's it. Venus is gone. She's gone. She's gone. Oh. If you like this piece, the original ashes are gonna be for sale on my website. I also have prints of this piece in various sizes if you'd like to decorate your bathroom with a piece of Venus. But what I'd rather have you do is stay a while and listen.